Hi, and welcome to Straight to the Points. I'm your host, Courtney. I'm here to help you take your family on amazing vacations for almost free with the help of credit card points and miles. I'm a mom and primary care physician, and I believe that travel is an important way to restore, connect, and celebrate. This podcast is designed for busy people who want to learn how to take unforgettable trips with minimal out-of-pocket cost and don't want to devote a ton of time to figuring out the world of points and miles. I'll get you your first trip booked in just a few months. Let's get straight to the points. Hi, and welcome to Straight to the Points. Today I'm going to be talking about travel to one of my favorite places, which is Disney World. My family and I love Disney, and it's a trip that we take pretty much every year, sometimes multiple times a year if we're lucky. And while I love to travel all over the place, Disney is somewhere we like to go again and again. Disney is something that's on the top of many families' travel wish lists, and for good reason. It's a great place to go with a family. There's something that's just so magical and fun about Disney. And trips to Disney World, as I'm sure you've heard, or if you've been, you know, incredibly pricey. It really can be extremely expensive to go to Disney World. And it might seem like using points and miles to make Disney World vacation achievable really isn't an option. But in reality, there are ways to use points to pay for Disney World. And then there's also ways that you can maximize points earning for the portions that you don't book on points. So using a combination of strategies to cover some of the costs with points, and then on the parts that you can't cover with points, maximizing your points earning so that you can essentially pay for a whole other trip based on the points that you earn from booking your Disney vacation, you can really take the sting out of the sticker shock with Disney World. I have taken trips to Disney at sort of all levels of spending. I've been in college when I essentially had no money to my name and stayed in Days Inn or something equivalent, an off-property hotel. I've been on a Disney trip where the city bus system was our main method of transportation because we couldn't afford to rent a car. And I've also done Disney now at some of the deluxe resorts and enjoyed really higher end Disney experiences. So I have lived Disney at all different income levels throughout my history. And I do think that brings something special to the table where I can speak to ways to enjoy Disney at all levels of budget. I'll delve into flights to Disney, lodging, park tickets, food, and other miscellaneous expenses, and talk about how to either use points for those items, or if paying for points isn't an option in your situation, how to maximize points earning for those costs. Let's delve in. First, we'll talk about flights. Depending on where you're traveling from, flights to Disney World can be a huge part of the cost of the trip, especially if you're traveling during peak times like school breaks with kids. Lots of other families are trying to do the same thing, and so flights to Disney can be insanely expensive if you're traveling during those peak times. We just recently were in Disney World, and we went during spring break, which so many other families did, and the flight costs were insane. For the trip home, for example, on the last day of break when everybody was trying to travel, the one-way ticket from Orlando to our home airport in the Northeast was $665 a person one way. We fortunately were able to pay with points, and we actually didn't take the direct flight because the points price was so high on that direct flight for the way home. We actually took a connection to lower our points cost, but these flights can be incredibly expensive. One strategy that we took is we used our Southwestcompanion pass for this trip, which essentially made one of the tickets free. Southwestcompanion pass is a topic all in and of itself in terms of how to strategize earning a Southwestcompanion pass. But basically what that gets you is buy one, get one flights for almost 2 years if you time it correctly in terms of when you earn the companion pass. So we have gotten a companion pass for my husband. I'm his companion. And so anytime he flies Southwest, whether it's a cash booking or a points booking, my flight is free. And so if you're in a family and you're able to earn especially 2 companion passes for 2 parents, and then have each of the kids fly for free, that can hugely offset the cost of your flights to Disney. You can book Southwest flights by either earning points on a co-branded Southwest card through Chase or by transferring points from Chase to Southwest. United is another great option for booking flights down to Orlando. You can transfer points from Chase to United or earn points on a United co-branded card. When you're booking with United, you want to look for what's called Saver Awards. So when you look at the points price, you will actually see Saver printed below it. And that means you're getting the lowest end price for that particular flight. There also are newer changes to United where you get better pricing availability if you have a United card. And so for people that fly United frequently, a United card might be worth considering. Remember also that you can book United flights through Air Canada and use Amex points instead. So if you don't have a ton of Chase or United points to work with, you can use Amex points, transfer to Air Canada, and then book United flights through Air Canada. American Airlines is also another great way to get down to Orlando. You can earn American Airlines points by using an American Airlines co-branded card. You can also transfer Citi thank you points to American Airlines, which is a relatively new change that's awesome. And you can also book American Airlines flights through Alaska Airlines, often at lower points prices, using Bilt points. So you can transfer points from the Bilt program over to Alaska and then book American Airlines flights through Alaska, with the points prices often being lower than if you book directly through American Airlines. JetBlue also is a great way to get down to Orlando for many places in the country. And JetBlue is nice because you can transfer points from Amex, Capital One, Citi, and Chase. And so if you have a bunch of different points currencies, but not a ton in one single currency, you can transfer points from multiple streams into your JetBlue account and then book JetBlue through there. Delta, also a good way to get down to Orlando. Generally, transferring transferable points to Delta typically isn't a great deal because Delta miles tend to be worth less than many of the transferable points. But you can earn on a co-branded card through Delta, or you can book Delta flights through Virgin Atlantic often to get a better deal. And many of the transferable points currencies will have transfer bonuses to Virgin Atlantic, where for a limited time, you can get, say, 20, 30, or even 40% more points when you transfer from, say, Amex to Virgin Atlantic. You get a bonus. And there's several different transferable points currencies that transfer to Virgin Atlantic. So with that, it can be really easy to get a large number of Virgin Atlantic points. For these higher stake trips like Disney, where you are spending an incredible amount of money upfront buying your park tickets in advance, for example, if you are delayed by a day, you lose a ton of money. It's too late to cancel your hotel at the last minute, and you've already paid for park tickets for those days. And so for these stays where I know we have to get there and we have to get there on time, I will sometimes book more than one flight, because when you book on points with pretty much all of the domestic airlines, you can cancel for free right up to the time of the flight. So I will actually book multiple flights. I'll book a flight in the morning for my family, and then I'll book a whole nother flight for all of us for later in the day on points. And then as soon as we are boarding our flight or the flight's taxiing away from the gate, I'm canceling that second flight that we no longer need. And that just gives us great peace of mind in terms of any weather issues or cancellations. I do this much more often in the winter and less so in the summer, but if I have the points available, I definitely book a second flight for Disney. I also pretty much always book one-way flights for trips on points because it allows greater flexibility, and the prices aren't higher for one-way tickets versus round trip. Whereas for cash bookings in general, if you're booking round trip, it's much lower than the cost of a one-way flight in many cases, especially for international flights. When you're booking with points, that's in general not the case. You're paying the same amount in terms of the points price, whether you're booking one way or round trip. So I pretty much always book one way so that if there's a change in price, I can very easily cancel just that one leg of the trip and rebook at the lower points price. It just gives you so much more flexibility to be able to make changes by booking one-way tickets with points. In terms of transportation, once you get to Disney, I definitely recommend not getting a car. In general, you can get from the airport to your hotel with a relatively cheap Uber or Lyft ride. Also, if you have many points credit cards, a lot of them come with Uber or Lyft credits every month. For example, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you get $10 a month for Lyft. With the Amex Platinum, you get $15 a month for Uber. And so it's a great time to use those credits when getting from the airport to your hotel. Transportation to Disney, once you're at your hotel, will depend on where you're staying. But if you're on Disney property, there's lots of Disney transportation available. Depending on where you are, you can sometimes walk to the parks. You can take the Skyliner, buses, a boat. I really recommend using all of that Disney transportation that's already included in the cost of your stay if you're staying on property. And then if you're off property, using ride shares, again, like Uber or Lyft, are a great way to get to the parks. And also the Citi bus system, which I have absolutely used. This was more than 10 years ago, but then it was $1 or $2 to get from a hotel in the general area around the parks into the parks. Remember, if you have a car, you have to pay for parking on property at Disney as well. And so in general, renting a car doesn't make sense if you're having a trip where you're basically going between your hotel and the parks. With regards to lodging, there are several ways that you can either book on points or earn a ton of points in the process of paying for your stay. If you want to stay on property, there are a couple of options. One option is that the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin hotels are Marriott properties, but they count as deluxe on-resort properties for Disney. These are the only two properties that are Disney World properties, but that are bookable directly with points by transferring to a program. So you can actually take Marriott points and book these hotels, but then you get all of the benefits of being in a Disney resort, including access to the Disney transportation, early entry to the parks, being able to book your lightning lanes further out, all of those perks, but you can book on points. The Swan and the Dolphin are generally between 50 and 65,000 points per night, sometimes more. They have dynamic pricing through Marriott, so the pricing can be very variable, and you can definitely expect to pay more during peak times. But about once a year, Marriott will offer with one of their credit cards a sign-up bonus that offers 5 free night certificates for up to 50,000 points. And those can be topped off. You can add additional points to them if the points price is higher. They actually just change this. So you can add 25,000 points to a stay. So if you get those, if you sign up for a Marriott credit card, you earn those 5 free nights up to 50K. You could spend an additional up to 25,000 points per night to book up to 75,000 points per night rooms at the Swan and the Dolphin, all on points. So this would be a great way to book your lodging on property with points. Another way to stay on property on points would be to use Capital One points to purchase erase the cost. So you could book any Disney property that you want and then pay cash and then use the Capital One purchase eraser to erase that cash price by using your points. And so that is a really flexible way to take off a huge portion of the cost with Capital One points, or even the whole cost. The Capital One Venture and Venture X will often have sign-on bonuses of 75 to 100,000 points. And so that would equal $750 or $1,000 just from the sign-up bonus alone. Plus, you could earn additional points through additional spending. So that is a great way to stay on property and use points. Another option is to pay cash and earn a bunch of points. So if you have, for example, a Chase Sapphire Reserve, you can earn 4 times points on the cash hotel stay if you're staying on property or anywhere else. Something else to consider is if you work in a field where you can attend conferences, this is a great way to get a huge portion of your stay paid for and to get discounted hotel rates. I'm a physician in primary care, and so I frequently attend primary care conferences through MER, M-E-R. Attending those conferences allows me to be able to book up to 2 rooms at deluxe Disney resorts for an extremely discounted rate, usually less than half of the normal cash rate. I have money that I can spend, CME money, to attend conferences, and so I actually get reimbursed the cost of the hotel. So this is my hack and what I typically do when I'm going to Disney World. And honestly, one of the reasons we've been able to go so frequently is that I'll book a discounted cash rate for attending the conference and then get the conference cost reimbursed. I also earn a ton of points because I'm paying the cash on my Chase Sapphire Reserve, earning 4 times points on the stay, but then getting the cost of the stay reimbursed. So if you're in any kind of profession where they have conferences available, check to see if there's conferences at Disney because they host a ton of conferences every year, and that can be an awesome way to save a ton on your Disney stay. Staying off property at Disney is also a great way to use points. There are several properties that you can book for very reasonable points prices that are off property. One is the Hyatt Place Orlando Lake Buena Vista. This is a Category 2 Hyatt, and that means with the current pricing, you're going to pay about 8,000 points per night. It is as low as 6,500 on off-peak nights and just 9,000 on peak nights. So that is a great way to be able to stay very close to the Disney parks for a very, very reasonable points price. This hotel offers free shuttles to Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom. So you could utilize those shuttles. And then once you are at Hollywood Studios or Magic Kingdom, you can use Disney transportation to get to all of the other areas. So for example, you could take the free shuttle to Magic Kingdom and then hop on the monorail to go to Epcot, or you could hop on a bus to get from one park to another park. So that is a great option. You could also use free night certificates, which you can earn through credit cards. For example, the Hyatt Personal Card, you get one free Category 1 through 4 free night certificate per year with a $95 annual fee. So this would be an amazing use of a free night certificate. Another great option is the Hyatt Regency Orlando. This is a Category 4, so you could use a free night certificate for this. It's about a 20-minute drive from Magic Kingdom. So with this hotel, it might actually make sense to rent a car. And it's 15,000 points a night in general, 12,000 for off-peak, 18,000 for peak. There's also a family suite available that you can book on points here, 2 queen beds and a double Murphy bed for 30,000 points. Incredible value in terms of having a really nice suite that sleeps up to 6 for only 30,000 points a night. This hotel also has a really nice pool. There also is Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress, which is relatively close to all of the parks. This one does offer shuttles to all of the parks and is between 12 and 18,000 points a night, a Category 4 Hyatt property. So in general, these Hyatt properties are great ways to stay off property for very reasonable prices and pay with points. There are also lots of other hotels in the area. Marriott, IHG, Hilton, all of those properties are present, but the Hyatts with the current pricing are definitely hands down the most cost-effective ways to stay close to Disney on points. Quick side note, there is also a Hyatt house across from Universal Orlando. So if you are going to Universal, that is a great place to stay. Let's talk about park tickets. There are a few ways to do this. If you're staying on Disney property and paying cash, you can book the entire package together. The hotel room, when you book it, you have the option to add your park tickets. It's not an upcharge. The tickets are expensive no matter how you get them, and they're not more expensive when booking in a package. And those packages will code as travel if you're using Capital One. So you could purchase erase the entire cost of the stay, both the hotel and the park tickets, as long as you book those park tickets with the hotel room in a package. If you're using a Chase Sapphire Reserve or Chase Sapphire Preferred to get a multiplier on travel hotels booked directly, if you book a package like that, if you book your hotel room and you include the cost of the park tickets, that will code as a hotel booking. And so you're able to get, if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, for example, 4 times points on the entire cost, including the tickets, which normally, if you bought tickets separately, would be just a non-category spend. So you would get 1 or potentially 2 points per dollar spent, depending on what card you're using. You can also book tickets through companies such as Undercover Tourist or Getaway Today. And if you do it that way, those will also purchase erase through Capital One. They will code as travel. Remember, if you're purchasing through one of these, click through a shopping portal like Rakuten, for example, to get to Undercover Tourist, and then earn additional points through Rakuten for that purchase. Using Capital One points to purchase a race is the best way I know to use points to pay for park tickets. But again, you can also use the ticket purchase as a points earning opportunity if you don't have access to Capital One points or if you don't want to use your Capital One points for that. There are lots of ways to earn extra points on these tickets. One is what I just mentioned, whereas if you're booking a package through Disney that includes your hotel and your tickets, that's going to be all wrapped into hotel cost. So you can earn, for example, 4 times points on the hotel if you're booking through with a Chase Sapphire Reserve, or if you're using, for example, an Amex Platinum. Other ways to earn a lot of points with getting Disney tickets, you can book through Undercover Tourist through a portal like Rakuten, as I mentioned. And then another great way to do this is with purchasing Disney gift cards, either at a discount or with high points multipliers, to either get a small discount or to earn a ton of points in the process. Sam's Club sometimes will have Disney gift cards at a discount. Target will often have deals where if you buy $100 worth of gift cards, certain companies, Disney included, you can get a $10 Target gift card with that purchase. So if you're going to spend money at Target anyway, is effectively 10% off Disney gift cards. You can also get Disney gift cards through Rove. Rove is a shopping portal that earns transferable points called Rove Miles that you can use to either transfer to partners or to book flights or hotel stays directly. If you're signing up for Rove, use my link in the show notes to get a bonus just for signing up. This is what I did for our recent Disney trip. Through the Rove program, the multipliers will change day to day, but I got between 3.2x and 6x on Disney gift cards through giftcards.com by purchasing through Rove as a portal. So I got a ton of Disney gift cards with 6x multiplier. So I got 6 times Rove miles for those purchases. Plus I got the points that I got for whatever card I was using to make that purchase. And I was working on a sign-up bonus, so I earned a huge amount of points by buying lots of Disney gift cards prior to our stay. I then used those gift cards to pay for a large portion of the hotel, and I used those to pay for park tickets, as well as miscellaneous expenses in the park. Some of those miscellaneous expenses, for example, souvenirs and things like that, I would normally be getting 1.5 to 2x, depending on which card I'm using on that non-category spending. I instead got 6x on a lot of it. So I earned a huge amount of points by taking this trip. Did I spend a lot of cash? Yes. But I did also earn a bunch of points, which definitely took the sting out of it. I was also able to pair those Disney gift card purchases through giftcards.com through the Rove portal with offers on my Chase cards. So for different credit cards, Amex, Chase, Capital One, all of them have their own version of offers where you have to go into their app or website and you can click to manually add each offer to your card. I use card pointers to do this automatically. I will put a link to card pointers in the show notes, but there is a paid version of card pointers where you can actually have these offers added to your cards automatically. I got 10% off on my purchases of the gift cards when that offer was active. I would buy, say, a $500 Disney gift card, earn 6x multiplier by clicking through Rove to get there. I would then get 10% back on my card after I make that purchase. And I got the points earned from the card I was actually using to make that purchase. So earned a ton of points on those purchases. Let's talk about food cost and other miscellaneous expenses at Disney. Food in general can be purchase erased with Capital One miles with a Venture or Venture X if you are buying a dining package. If you, when you book your hotel, book a dining plan that is all wrapped into your hotel cost, that all codes as travel and can all be purchase erased. If you use magic bands in the park to pay for food or other miscellaneous expenses, whether you're buying souvenirs, a meal, you always have the option to pay with your magic band. that is linked to your hotel reservation. And so all of those costs on the Magic Band get paid at the end of the trip when you check out of your hotel. Not a fun bill to see, but that puts it all effectively on the same bill, and that will all code as travel. And so you can either earn your points multiplier if you're paying cash for hotels booked directly with whatever card you're using, or you can purchase erase all of those costs if you're using Capital One miles. Great way to pay for essentially all of your Disney trip with points. You also can pay for food separately in the park, and that will code as dining. So for example, if you have an Amex Gold and you pay for dinner with your Amex Gold, you're earning 4 times points at a restaurant like you normally would. Miscellaneous expenses like Lightning Lane, this stuff can add up really quickly, and you can book these things with gift cards. So I used those gift cards that I had purchased ahead with points multipliers and use those to purchase Lightning Lanes. So a way to get a little bit of a discount and earn some extra points on those purchases. You can also purchase Memory Maker with gift cards, but to do this, you have to do it through the Disney website. If you purchase Memory Maker, the photo package, through the My Disney Experience app, it will be an in-app purchase, and you won't be able to use a gift card for it. It'll work like any other purchase you would make in an app. With all these gift cards, you can combine them using a website called DisneyGiftCard.com. You can go in there and combine up to $1,000 onto a single gift card. And so I bought multiple $1,000s of gift cards for my recent trip and put $1,000 on each card, kind of combine them all together into bigger cards, and then you can use those to make payments. Keep in mind that you can only combine up to $1,000 on one card, and you can only use one gift card per purchase. So if you are going to do the gift card strategy to earn points for your stay, you want to break purchases up into smaller increments. That might mean buying park tickets for, say, 2 of your family members, and then making a separate purchase for the other 2 family members so that you're able to use gift cards for the majority of the purchase. If the park tickets come to $3,000, which they can, and you purchase them all together, you can only use $1,000 worth of gift card to make that purchase. So just something to keep in mind. This episode also wouldn't be complete without bringing up a new opportunity for paying for Disney with points or credits, and that is the new Disney Inspire credit card. I don't have this card, but I definitely would consider it if you're planning a Disney trip. The sign-on bonus is a $300 statement credit after spending $1,000 in 3 months. So a very reasonable amount of spend to make in 3 months, as well as a $300 Disney gift card that you get immediately on approval. So for signing up for the card, spending $1,000, you effectively get $600 that can be spent at Disney. $300 that has to be spent at Disney, $300 in statement credit. The annual fee is $149, so very reasonable to pay that annual fee to get $600 in value. And then there are some other benefits. You can get $200 back with $2,000 of Disney resort bookings, and you can get that every anniversary year. Caution with this, I personally would not book a Disney resort stay on this card, because when I'm booking a Disney resort stay, I am wanting to use a card with great travel protection, like a Chase Sapphire Reserve or Preferred or an Amex Platinum. It's not worth it to me to not have that additional travel protection to get that $200 back. So just something to consider. You may be willing to do that. It depends. You also get $100 in Disney theme park ticket credits with $200 spent on tickets. So essentially, if you buy any Disney tickets, spend at least $200, which you will, you get $100 back once a year. You also get $10 monthly for Disney Plus, Hulu, or ESPN. So if you have those subscriptions, that could add value to this card. And then for spending, you get 3% back on gas, 2% on dining and groceries, and 1% on all other spend. With this card, you are not earning cash back or points back. You're earning Disney reward dollars. So this is you're earning money that you can spend at Disney only. This is a card that I personally would get and keep for a year and then likely cancel. In the first year, if you're going to Disney, it absolutely makes sense. You pay that $149 annual fee. You get $600 right off the bat that you can spend towards your Disney trip. Plus with theme park tickets, another $100 off. And then if you do decide to do your resort booking, another $200 off. So this card is a no-brainer if you're planning a Disney trip. In terms of whether it's a good card to keep and hold every year, I probably wouldn't. But if you're planning on going to Disney every year and spending at least $2,000 at a resort, and you don't mind booking with this card without the travel protections, that could be a reasonable option to have and hold. I'll quickly mention Disneyland. There are some great options for hotels off property near Disneyland. There's the Fairfield Anaheim, which is a Marriott property. It is typically between 30 and 59,000 points a night, so could work with those Marriott 35,000 points per night or 50,000 points per night certificates. And again, you can top off the value of the free night certificate with 25,000 additional Marriott points. There's also the Westin Anaheim, which is between 52 and 90,000 Marriott points a night. There is Hyatt House Anaheim, which is about a 15-minute walk from the park. Because it's a Hyatt House, it sleeps 5 and you get free breakfast. You can also book suites outright in points, and the cost is 12 to 8,000 points a night, and you can use a category 1 through 4 free night certificate. This is a great option if you are going to Disneyland. There is also a Hyatt Place in the area, but note that the Hyatt Place is further away. The Hyatt House at Anaheim is the closest to the park and a 15-minute walk from the park. There is also a Holiday Inn Express and Suites Anaheim resort area. It is between 34 and 86,000 points through IHG per night. And with IHG points bookings, you get the 4th night free if you have an IHG One Rewards Premier credit card, or if you have status with IHG. While the points price can be quite a bit higher for these, if you're staying for 4 nights or more and you're getting that 4th night free, it definitely can work out to be a good deal. Something else that's on my bucket list is going to one of the Disney parks that isn't in the US. Paris, Tokyo, Shanghai, all of these Disney parks cost a fraction of the amount that it costs to go to Disney World in the US. So something to keep in mind is that in a lot of cases, if you're booking on points, you book flights and hotels on points and then purchase park tickets with cash there, you could actually spend significantly less out of pocket going to, say, Disneyland Paris with your family versus going to Disney World, which is crazy. But because the park tickets are so expensive here and there's so much less there, something to consider. Maybe going to Disneyland Paris makes more sense financially than going to Disney World, which is kind of wild, but absolutely the case. Going to Disney World is definitely an expensive family vacation. But as you can see, there are ways to significantly offset the cost using points. And for those parts that you might not be able to pay for with points, you can earn a lot of points and take the sting out of the cash price. With our recent Disney trip, we earned a ton of points using the gift card strategy that I mentioned, and I used those points towards our trip to Germany coming up this summer. If you have any questions about Disney, I would love to answer them. Please message me on Instagram or send me an email. I would love to hear from you. And if you've booked a Disney trip using points, I would love to hear about your experience. Happy travels. Thank you for listening to Straight to the Points. If you're looking for more tips and tricks or travel inspiration, you can find me on Instagram at straighttothepoints.podcast. If you have any questions about earning or using your points, send me an email. I might include your question on a future episode. You can reach me at straighttothepoints.podcast@gmail.com. Please also send me your points success stories. I would love to hear from you. If you are thinking about applying for a points earning credit card, I would appreciate you using my referral links to sign up. Head to straighttothepointspodcast.com and click on card referral links. If you are getting value from this podcast, I would be so happy if you would leave me a 5-star review and a comment wherever you listen. If you want to further support the podcast, click on support on the website main menu, where there is a link to my Buy Me a Coffee account, where you can leave me a tip to help support the podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time on Straight to the Points.